Now that I've started on my reinventing process, I see reinventing everywhere, including a few world religions. Join me today as I share where I think some of our world religions show some reinventing. Hi, my name is Amelia Sims, and this is Reinventing You, where you can follow me on my journey to reinvent myself. I post twice a week on Tuesdays and Sundays, and I'm so glad you're here. I would appreciate a comment, if you would, at the end of the video, letting me know what you think about my take on world religions and some of the significant figures in those religions and how you think they really did reinvent themselves or not. Now, we define reinventing or reinventioning as transforming oneself or being transformed. And this could mean spiritually, it could mean work, it could mean in relationships, physically, or maybe all of the above. When I look at some of the world's religions, I think I see some major figures in these religions that went through a reinventing process. And one of the things that I realized in doing this whole video was I probably have enough knowledge to be dangerous, but maybe not quite factual. So if you are a Buddhist or a Muslim, a Jew or a Christian, and you don't agree with what I'm saying, I do appreciate your comments. So I'm going to begin with Buddha. Buddha was a prince, and he was not expected to be a religious figure, although it was prophesied that he would do something like that, either a prophet or a great military leader or a great king. And he was very secluded by his father, the king. He himself started looking at different types of religions and beliefs and tried to find one. I guess that he was searching for one that he really fit in or really believed highly. He spent some time in meditation, and that's when he received his enlightenment. Now, once he became the Buddha, he began preaching and teaching what he understood in terms of the middle way. And so I feel like Buddha is one of those figures who transformed himself specifically through his meditation practice. And when I say meditation practice, he was there for many days. So it wasn't just like he just sat down for 5 minutes and had this time of enlightenment. Was Buddha someone who had reinvented themselves or was reinvented by a higher power? The next religious figure that I'm going to lift up to you is Moses. Now, Moses was raised as a prince in Pharaoh's household, and he actually committed murder. He tried to help a Hebrew slave. Moses himself was from the Hebrews, but had been rescued by a princess, a daughter of Pharaoh, and so had lived in the palace and been adopted by her. So when he saw these people who he knew were where he came from being attacked by an Egyptian soldier, he simply murdered the Egyptian soldier and buried the body. But of course, somebody had seen, somebody always sees, and knew about it, so he ran away. He spent about 40 years in the wilderness. He actually married and had children and became a shepherd. Then he had this experience of seeing a burning bush and hearing God's voice telling him to go to Pharaoh and demand that Pharaoh let God's people go. And of course, Moses actually did, after some hemming and hawing and agreeing to get his brother Aaron to help him with the process. He did go, he did confront Pharaoh, and after a series of miracles, he did lead the people out of Egypt and into the wilderness. So Moses reinvented. He actually reinvented twice. He went from being a prince to a shepherd, from a shepherd to a leader. And he is respected in the Jewish faith as being the one who received the Ten Commandments and the one who is very close to God and revered in that faith. So do you see Moses as being somebody who was reinvented or reinvented themselves? The next religious figure of a major religion is Muhammad, and he's from, of course, the Islamic faith. Muhammad was originally from Mecca. He did some traveling. He was orphaned, and then he became a trader like his uncle. So he went from being a trader to being a prophet. Now, it didn't just happen like he woke up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to be a prophet, although he spent some time in meditation. At the age of 40, I love it, the age of 40, none of these figures are particularly young. He went on a religious retreat, and in this time of meditation, he received a vision with the angel Gabriel and received his first revelation. Now, although he did some preaching, he really didn't do anything publicly until 3 years later, and he began to publicly preach. He later had another encounter or another vision or another spiritual experience where he physically, they say, was taken to Jerusalem and met with Abraham and Moses and Jesus and some other prophets. And then after that was taken up into heaven and received the instructions for the 5 daily prayers. Was Muhammad someone who was reinvented or reinvented himself, going from a traitor to a prophet? That's a question that I have for you. I welcome your comment. The last major figure in a world religion is one I actually know a little bit more about than the other 3, is Jesus. And I guess this would probably be actually the most controversial, because even though Jesus did spend time in the wilderness, I see his really big transformation, his really big reinvention actually happened at the end of his life, which was the resurrection. Now, you may disagree with this. It was a major transformation. It was a major reinventing, and he did not do it. It was done by God, by a higher power. So was this a reinventing? Can you see it as a reinventing process? Were these religious figures in Judaism and in the Muslim faith, in the Christian faith, in the Buddhist faith, were these figures actually people who reinvented themselves or were reinvented by a higher power? I hope that you will do like I do and keep looking for figures in the world, in religion, in politics even, who have reinvented themselves. My name is Amelia Sims. Thank you for joining me on my reinventing journey. I'll see you next time. Have a great one. Just in time for the video. Yay! I see Jakar's moved. Jakar doesn't want to be in the video.